I'm Coach Joseph Correa, and today I'm here to teach you how to hit topspin forehand. Now, for the topspin forehand, this is a very valuable shot nowadays. It's one of the most aggressive shots you can have now that there's new racket technology and string technology that makes the ball spin faster. The topspin forehand, first of all, you want to make sure you have the correct grip. For the correct grip, you want to either have a Western grip or semi-Western grip. For me, I prefer the semi-Western grip. It's a little bit less extreme, and I can maneuver a little bit better. For the semi-Western grip, you want to put your hand on your strings and slide it all the way down so that it looks kind of like this. So you would be able to bounce a ball on the ground with this same grip. Okay, now for the topspin forehand, there's many ways to create the spin. The topspin forehand, first of all, let's start with the basics. You want to make sure you come under the ball. So you're going to start from your either hip, depending on the ball, on the height of the ball, but you want to make sure you come under the ball, and then you're going to brush up on the ball and finish all the way across, either to behind your back, to your shoulder, or to your elbow. I prefer not to teach anybody to finish to their hip because that promotes wrist injuries a lot of times. I prefer to make sure that your ball has pace. Pace is basically that the ball bounces on the court and takes off instead of bouncing and slowing down or losing speed or losing control. For that reason, I prefer to teach hitting with a longer follow through and across the body. I prefer not to also teach behind the back. That's for other extreme situations when the ball bounces high with a lot of topspin. So in this case, let's start with some topspin with the forehand side. For the forehand, I want to make sure that you want to make a loop with your racket so that you come around the ball. The loop you create will be in the form of not a U, but you want to make it in the form of an arc, a light arc. The sharper your arc or the sharper the loop, the more spin you put on the ball, the more diagonal you keep the ball instead of a sharp loop, the more pace the ball has across the court, which means one will go with a lot of spin and bounce and go up, and the other will go with a lot of spin, but it'll have a little bit less spin. It'll bounce and go straight, and it'll take off like a yo-yo. You wind it up, and then the ball bounces and then takes off. Okay, let's start with positioning and stances first. So for positioning, for topspin, I like it when you're stepping into the court, you stand sideways, and when you're moving to the right, if you're a righty, or to the left, if you're a lefty, you step across with your open stance positioning, which would be your right leg across, like that, if you're going to the right. If you're stepping into the court, it's always better to come across your left leg because that helps you come around and turn into the ball. For me, I don't like to stand around. I like to teach my students, that's the first one, which is where you keep your back foot back. I try to teach my students to bring the back leg around, which is better because it allows your hips and your shoulders to turn, and that's where you get the real spin or the fastest top spin in the ball. So let's take a look at that one. So you're going to step and bring the back leg across, open stance. Now you would be facing the court. So first you were facing the side fence, now you're facing the court when you're done hitting the ball. That helps you to turn your hips faster and your shoulders faster, which helps you whip around the ball and get you more topspin. Now, there's also the switch foot, which is you start sideways, and instead of bringing the back foot forward, you switch both feet at the same time, which helps you keep your feet in the air. For some people, it helps you turn your hips faster and allows you to turn both sides, not just the right side, but the left side, also faster. Let's take a look at that one now. And that's how it will look. As you can see, my hand is coming across my body. My racket is not at my hips. It's not at my shoulder. It's on the side of my arm. I prefer the side of the arm to keep a faster topspin going instead of a higher loop or higher arc. Let's go ahead and do a few more. So first, let's try topspin with a higher arc or higher loop to make the ball spin higher. For more topspin or more loop, you want to make sure you come even more under the ball to make the ball spin up. That makes the ball bounce and kick up on the court too. For topspin, a very important factor that a lot of people don't take into account, and they wonder why the ball doesn't bounce as high as some of the other people's topspin, is if you hit topspin low, the ball simply can't jump by itself high. You need a little bit higher of an arc to make the ball bounce and continue a higher arc. So if you're trying to hit a high topspin ball off a very low beginning topspin shot, so if you hit it low with topspin, you can't expect the ball to kick up with extreme topspin. It's a lot harder to create that. It's much easier if you hit it a little bit higher with more spin. That allows the ball to go up and bounce high as well. So remember that. And then number two, if you want the ball to jump a little bit higher, you want to make sure that either you give the ball more distance on the court, because if the ball bounces short into the court, you can't expect the ball to continue going into the court, into the back of the court at the same height. It will always start dropping and looping, which will make your opponent hit a lower shot. So it's not as difficult. So what you want to do is you want to try to hit the ball a little bit deeper on the court to make sure the topspin bounces and kicks up higher. So for the topspin, let's go over the basics again. You either have a semi-western or western grip. You get a relaxed loop on your swing. You want to make sure you come from down, up, and across your body, not at your hips, not behind your head, just across your body. Shoulder, behind your back, or side arm is good enough. Hips, I don't like because of the wrist issues that a lot of people have at the end, because they start looping it too much. The ball winds up too much. It just doesn't get any distance on the court. So it bounces, ends up bouncing 2 or 3 times before it even reaches the back fence. Now, a good exercise you can do to see just how good your topspin is to simply hit a ball with topspin and see how deep the ball bounces on the second bounce. If the ball reaches the back fence, then off the first bounce, then you have a decent topspin. That's a good topspin. Now, how high the ball bounces on the back of the fence means just how advanced that topspin is. Higher advanced players that are top 10 in the world might make the ball bounce at least the middle of the back fence, maybe even higher. That's why a lot of their opponents are hitting the ball up here and having trouble returning those balls, because they developed such a good topspin. And that's what you want to do. All you have to do is work on that target, making the ball bounce and get to the back fence first, so your ball isn't just spinning and bouncing into the middle of the court, not getting any depth. So remember, for depth, you want a little bit less of a shorter loop. You want a longer loop, and you want it to be a little bit more across your body, not upwards. Upwards will get you more spin, but not necessarily will it get you more depth. And you need the depth to get the ball to become difficult for your opponent. Now, positioning, remember, sideways, opening up the left or the opposite, opening up the opposite foot, the back foot across your body helps you turn your hips and your shoulders. That naturally helps you get more spin on the ball and more speed, just like this. That's a great spin. That's a great way to turn when making contact. The switch foot requires a little more precision. If the ball's moving around or it's coming around with too much slice, it's harder to hit, but that one really gives you a lot of topspin. And it's basically switching positions from your feet. Both feet facing the fence, both feet after that facing the net. That helps you turn really quick without any friction on the floor, because you don't have to turn it all on the floor. You're in the air most of the time when you turn. And it'll look like this. And that gives you even more spin. Thank you for watching this video. Check out more videos at www.tennisvideostore.com. Thank you.